The life of use history represents the culminating group experience in addiction treatment. Over approximately 90 minutes, the patient engages in a guided exploration of their personal addiction story through multiple critical lenses and with supportive feedback from peers. The process begins with the patient candidly sharing how addiction has impacted their life and relationships. Drawing from concepts like the Pleasure Unwoven video, they then examine biological genetic factors, identifying any innate predispositions or vulnerabilities that may have made them more susceptible to addictive behavior from a nature perspective. Developmental factors, pinpointing. When substance use transitioned from recreational to compulsive, going from cucumber to pickle, and how the brain's reward, memory, and stress circuits became dysregulated over time with the progression of the disease. The process shows a clear outline of the progression and the significant negative consequences associated with it. Environmental life stressors, exploring how personal challenges and ineffective coping mechanisms enabled the descent into the unmanageability of active addiction. Chemical escape is explored and how the patient may struggle with emotional intelligence and use substances to cope. Personal responsibility, ultimately taking ownership over the choices made to continue using despite negative consequences, reflecting on the powerlessness felt. With these factors explored, the group process shifts to identifying 5 primary personal relapse warning signs using the Terence Gorski model, 5 core values and how addiction caused deviations from those values, 5 potential allies to help support early recovery. For those with prior treatment experience, challenges like non-adherence to aftercare plans and resistance to fully engaging in recovery are examined. The life of use history aims to foster greater self-awareness by having patients reflect on how they worked the first 3 steps in reverse by dismantling their program through ego, judgment, and lack of surrender. Assess their current recovery on biological, psychological, social, and spiritual domains compared to intake. As part of the culminating life of use history process, patients are asked to conduct a self-assessment evaluating their current state of wellness across 4 critical domains: biological, social, psychological, and spiritual. For each domain, the patient rates themselves on a scale from 1 to 25, reflecting on specific factors that contribute to overall health and recovery in that area. This numeric self-scoring is compared to their initial baseline assessment from the beginning of treatment. The biological domain encompasses physical health habits like sleep, nutrition, exercise, stress management, and adherence to medical care for co-occurring conditions like depression or anxiety. Social wellness is evaluated by the strength of one's sober support network, ability to develop trusting relationships, maintenance of family connections, and skills like work-life balance. The psychological domain centers on commitment to personal growth work like therapy attendance, insight into core issues, cognitive restructuring to counter distortions, cultivating self-worth and purpose. Finally, spiritual wellness is appraised through indicators like personal integrity, being in tune with nature, prayer meditation practice, values alignment, and spiritual study. By numerically rating themselves in each of these multifaceted domains, patients can clearly quantify their progress since initially entering treatment. Identifying areas of significant growth reinforces motivation, while domains lagging can highlight critical issues still requiring more focused therapeutic attention. This self-assessment is a tangible exercise in developing self-awareness and accountability. It challenges the individual to conduct an honest inventory of the comprehensive lifestyle changes and inner work needed to reinforce long-term recovery across mind, body, and spirit. Ultimately, this process aims to leave patients with a detailed personal wellness roadmap calibrated by their own assessment, increasing self-efficacy as they transition to sustainable, sober living in the community. This process guides patients in taking full accountability for their addiction while developing self-compassion. By exploring the multifaceted influences intertwined with personal choices, they can then map a more grounded, individualized path of recovery reinforced by group support.